Alright everyone, how are you doing? Well, that's enough small talk, so let's get straight into testing the living daylights out of the new TTArt 35mm f1.4 tilt lens, a totally manual, low-budget tilt lens for APS-C mirrorless camera systems. It'll be available on Sony E, Fujifilm X, Nikon Z, Canon RF, and Micro Four Thirds lens mounts. I'll put its price in the description below, and if I forget, please remind me in the comments, but it's going to be low budget. I'd like to thank TTArt for sending me one of these lenses for evaluation, although as usual, this is a totally independent review. As I mentioned, this lens is only designed for mirrorless camera systems with APS-C sized sensors. Here's the image circle if you shoot on full frame. A 35mm f1.4 lens is always going to be attractive on an APS-C camera because it offers a lovely, versatile, standard field of view, alongside some deeply out of focus backgrounds at f1.4, not to mention fast shutter speeds. But the ace up this lens's sleeve, of course, is its tilt mechanism, which can tilt the lens's plane of focus. Fun! This can serve to keep long subjects on the longitudinal axis, like fences or products you're trying to shoot professionally, in focus better, as you can see. They're sometimes used in video work too, to get backgrounds on one side and foregrounds on the other simultaneously in focus, like in this shot from Annie Hall that I noticed the other day. But in this low price bracket, I imagine a lot of the lens's target market will be shooting with it to get amusing special effects going, including a fun miniature effect in their images. Just get a bit above your subject, tilt the lens vertically, and shoot away. The lens itself is a tough, metallic, solid block of optics, being very tightly constructed, and at 320 grams, it's got just a little bit of weight to it. It's based on a metal lens mount with no visible weather sealing. Around to the left side of the lens, there's a metal tightening screw, which can loosen in order to allow you to rotate the lens around to get the tilt angle that you need. It clicks at every 15 degrees of rotation. Then the larger black painted screw loosens to allow you to adjust your tilt level. All pretty simple, really. Above that tilt mechanism we get the aperture ring. It's very thin, it turns heavily and smoothly without any clicks, and the f-stops are not spaced evenly. Above that we get the manual focus ring, which turns lovely and smoothly. It turns about 150 degrees, which is just about precise enough for focusing at f1.4. As you can see here, the lens displays a moderate amount of breathing, zooming in rather as you focus more closely to your subject. The lens's filter thread size is a small 52mm, and it doesn't come with a hood. As I mentioned before, it's a totally manual lens, so no autofocus, no camera controlled aperture, and no image stabilization. Overall, it's pretty simple but tough build quality here, and everything works as it should. So let's take a look at image quality then. I'm testing it today on a 24 megapixel APS-C camera. At f1.4, sharpness and contrast are okay in the middle of the image, but we're seeing some purple colour fringing. Stop down to f2 for a small improvement, but it's only really at f2.8 that we get excellent image quality in the middle of your picture. Anyway, let's open the aperture back up to f1.4 and take a look in the image corners. Nothing good to see here, they are a blurry mess. At f2 those corners are a little brighter, however stop down to f2.8 and we see a huge improvement, leading to very good image quality there, except for a touch of colour fringing. f4 and f5.6 lead to further improvements. The lens stays this sharp down to f11, but stop down to f16 and diffraction softens the image. Overall, the lens has two faces. Image quality at apertures brighter than f2.8 is poor and only really suitable for special effects shooting, but at f2.8 or darker we get an impressively sharp performance actually. Let's take a look at distortion and vignetting now. The lens projects a negligible level of barrel distortion here. At f1.4 those image corners are dark though, as you would expect. Stop down to f2 or especially f2.8 for those corners to really brighten up. The lens's minimum focus distance is a rather handy 35 centimeters. At that closest focus distance, at f1.4, image quality is a bit softer than at normal distances. At f2 we get a noticeable improvement in contrast, but it's at f2.8 and especially f4 that we get a sharp image close up. Next, work against bright lights. It's a bit of a disaster zone here, with terribly strong flaring and glaring all over the place. Stop down to f2 as I do here for an improvement, but it's still a rather weak performance. While we're working in the dark, let's take a look for coma and sunstars. At f1.4, coma smearing is moderately strong. I was expecting slightly worse than this actually, but it's still not good. At f2, it's mostly gone away, and at f2.8, bright lights in the image corners look nice and clean. Let's move the camera over a little and look for sunstars. They begin to emerge at f4. At f5.6, down to f11 and f16, they get lovely and strong, so that's a nice bonus feature of the lens. Next, bokeh. Deeply out of focus backgrounds look lovely and soft here, and moderately out of focus backgrounds too. On rare occasions, I spotted some outlining on specular highlights, but actually this lens's bokeh is quite impressive. And finally, related to bokeh comes longitudinal chromatic aberration. Those false colours are obviously there at f1.4, f2 and f2.8. They are even slightly present at f4. At f5.6, they are finally gone. Overall, well, as I mentioned in the resolution test, this really is a lens with two faces. At apertures brighter than f2.8, it's for special effects only really, with rather poor image quality, but stop down to f2.8 or darker and the lens offers a very impressive performance. Having said that, at this lens's low price, it could actually be worth a punt if you're on the market for a tilt lens for your APS-C mirrorless camera system. Thanks for watching everyone. If you haven't already, be sure to check out my channel where you can find playlists for the camera equipment you are looking for, and as usual, a special thanks to my Patreon supporters and channel members who've helped to keep this channel trucking on sponsorship free for absolutely years now. Supporters get all kinds of extra bonus content and early access to reviews, so check it out in the description below, and ciao for now.